The Marquette Golden Eagles are headed to the NCAA Sweet 16 for the third time in program history, as I'm joined by head coach Ryan Theis. Coach, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been so much fun watching you guys through this season. And I know last couple of matches, you were saying the theme of the weekend for you guys was you just need 6 good sets, and you and your team got them. Could you take us through those 6 good sets?
Yeah, a friend of mine, he's the associate head coach at Florida, Dave Booz. I think he was at Minnesota. They knocked us out when I was an assistant at Florida. And then they lost in 5 to USC, I think. And he came up to me and said, we played 5 really good sets this weekend. And they didn't get to advance. So that actually stuck with me forever. And I always talk about that first weekend, you need 6.
Yeah.
We joke and say things like, you got to get to 3 before you even get a chance at 4, 5, and 6, or you got to get to 3 before the other team does. Otherwise, you don't get to go for 6. So we make little jokes about that, but it's 6 good sets, right? You got to play 6 good ones. And it took us 8, but we got there. 9, 8 or 9, but we got there.
And especially going up against University of Utah, it was exciting. You and your team able to pull away. What did you learn, especially about the group of athletes that you have on the court during that game, Coach? What did you learn about your team then?
I just thought just the guts. I mean, I just was really, Adriana Studer came off the bench and played really well in 4 and 5, and then Fody sprains an ankle and Jaden comes in and serves, and then they throw a ball in her direction and she digs it perfectly for a dig to kill trans. And so, Fody pumping up the team from the sideline, knowing her career is in jeopardy of being over with an injury. So just a really gutsy effort. And we laughed in timeouts at 10-8 and 13-11 or whatever scores were. And we were smiling and we kept having fun with it, but we certainly weren't going to be afraid.
How important is it in the NCAA tournament, Coach, to exactly what you just said, continue to have fun with it throughout the pressure that you're going through?
Yeah, this group makes that fun, led by Ella Fody, just Hattie Bray. I mean, those are 2 pretty fun individuals. And then Yachty can usually, get a little squirrely and funny as well. So, the group is you can't change character, and their character is fun, competitive people. So they're gonna go out there and they enjoy competing. We talked about embracing when the score is close and liking it. We talked about just get to 20 next to Utah, just be next to them, and then we'll find our point. And we did that in the first. We did it in the second. We had an opportunity in the fourth, and lost it. And so then it was, okay, guys, be there at 10, be there at 10:10. And then Fody goes down, and guys, be there at 10:10. And we got there at 10:10 or 10:11, and we found our point.
Coach, you talked a lot about your seniors in the post game. And when you think about what these 6 seniors have meant to the program, you're currently in your best 4-year stretch with the program since being there. When you put it into words of what these athletes have meant to Marquette volleyball, how do you really put that into words?
I'm going to butcher it, but we had a senior brunch our last home weekend, and it was something that, again, I'm going to get this so wrong. Like, I have, 220 wins at Marquette, 260 or something like that. And Ella Fody and Carson Murray have been here for 105 of them, so, so then obviously Yachty came later and Aubrey came later and these additions, but just a huge part of what we do. And I think the biggest thing that, goes unnoticed by the naked eye is we haven't had a transfer out in 4 years. And so that's because of this senior class being so good to work with, so inviting, so welcoming to people. And that radiates with the younger players too. So then now we have Ella Holmstrom, who's been injured all year, but is being a phenomenal liaison for our freshmen. And our freshmen, every one of them, if you said, who do you have the 2 best bank accounts with? They would all say Ella Holmstrom, So she doesn't even live in the dorm with them. anymore. And she just takes it upon herself to be this welcoming presence. And so that senior class has been a huge part of that. They learned it from others as well. In the 11 years I've been here, that's in 2017, I think we kind of turned over a roster, and it became all my team at that point, all kids I had recruited, and then the culture was has been extremely strong ever since. And so I think since 2017 we've been between number 7 and 30 in the country, basically, that entire 7-year span or something like that.
You mentioned the culture, Coach. How would you describe what the culture is with Marquette volleyball?
Yeah, it's welcoming. We're all different. We all have positives and negatives. None of us are perfect, and we embrace that, and we make fun of it. We make fun of pretty much everybody, ourselves being the most. And so some days I'll walk into practice and I get, Ryan, your socks look stupid. Like, you have to change. You got to do this. And I mean, I'm insulted as much as anybody, and made fun of routinely. So we keep a really welcoming, inviting, fun, loose environment. I don't yell and scream much at all, and mostly because they're so hard on themselves. I think that as coaches, we almost need to take the pressure off of them and tell them it's okay to make mistakes.
Where did that joking come from? Have you always been this lighthearted, Coach, or
I mean, I've always been really funny. Just ask my wife. But really, it has to do with personalities of when you're recruiting them, and the kids that enjoy that on the visit, and we have one today, and it's like, hey, we're going to make fun of ourselves. Or I walked into, they were meeting in my office, and I walked in, forgot they were in here, and I was like, oops, my bad. And we all just laughed about it because it's just a silly thing, and so we're okay with that. And in the recruiting process, if they like that type of culture, if they like that, they come. Oftentimes it's one or both family members or parents are also relatively lighthearted, and treat people with a lot of respect and joke with them. And those are the kids that say yes. So, and I tell recruits, if you don't like the visit and the vibe and the personality of the team or me, don't come, because you're not going to like it, and we're not going to like it.
Coach, next up for you and your team is Penn State. You and your squad are headed out to Happy Valley to take on the Nittany Lions. When you first look at this team and what you guys are faced up against, what are you looking at ahead of Friday's match?
I mean, they're extremely physical, extremely experienced at multiple positions, and then a freshman setter who's awesome. They can score it from all positions. I usually start off and just watch 5 hitters, and when you watch hitters with Penn State, you see the setter too, and it's immediately recognizable, how much talent they have and how physical they are. They're awfully good. And so you're watching physicality and, maybe what you can get at, what you can attack based on your people. We can't change, and we can't tell Aubrey and Natalie to run, new spots along the net and change approach patterns to try and trick them. That's not going to work. So you just got to find out, where can we get at them? Where can we score points, and how can we limit their damage to us?
What's the message to your team heading into this game?
We're still building that message. Excited to go. We got an injury, so we don't know health statuses of 1 or 2 players even. So right now we're learning. This afternoon, I'm hoping at our practice here that we'll develop a little bit of a sense of urgency in what we're going after. I think we needed to get over the celebrating part, and then we needed to get through finals. I mean, we have finals all week. Some of the team is getting done now, so I'm hoping that helps today. Yesterday, you could tell it was, okay, timing wise, what are we doing to make sure we're efficient with time, get them in, get them out, get their finals in. And so hopefully we have a little bit more sense of purpose and urgency today, based on academic schedules. And then hopefully we build the theme from there, right? Like, let's get after these guys, right? So we're the underdog. We know it. And so hopefully we play with a little bit of chip on our shoulder and can compete.
Embracing that underdog mentality, Coach. Thank you so much for joining us today. Best of luck along the way. Safe travels and enjoy this weekend. You can catch Marquette taking on Penn State in the NCAA Sweet 16 this Friday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. Coach, thank you so much. Best of luck.
Thanks, Megan. Take care.